G'day Storm fans and welcome to Robbo's Watchtower, a show where we interview our past players. And today we've been honoured to be able to have a chat to one of our legends of the club, legends of a man, Billy Slater. Hey Billy, firstly, thanks for your time. It's great to see you, and it looks like you're up in Queensland somewhere, mate.
No, this is beautiful sunny way. So it's a bit like Queensland at the moment, although it was 2 degrees this morning when I was feeding up with the horses. So no, we're lucky enough to get a bit of nice weather. And yeah, who said Victoria always rained?
That's right. It looks like you might need a bit of sunscreen there. Hey Bill, you come from Innisfail. How does a young man from Innisfail, how does he end up down in Melbourne playing football?
A car and an aeroplane.
It would have been a long drive.
Look, yeah, it was a long drive from Innisfail to Brisbane. That was the bloody longest drive. It was about 20 hours, and I still remember the moment that I made the decision. I was playing football up there when I was 17, and I'd been training through the pre-season, and we got to February, so just before the season started, and I went to training one day, and there was about 4 or 5 people that turned up to training, and I just thought I'm wasting my time up here if I really want to give it a crack. So my dad and my uncle made a few phone calls to a few clubs down in Brisbane, and my uncle just happened to know someone that was involved with Brisbane North, and they had an affiliation with the Melbourne Storm, which I didn't know at the time, but they gave me an opportunity to come down. That was, I think it was about a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and they said if they can get down here by Friday, we'll give him a run in our last trial on Saturday. So I made the decision to pack the car up on the Tuesday night, I think it was, and Wednesday morning I jumped in the car with my cousin and we made the 20-hour journey down to Brisbane, and the rest is history. I remember walking into my training session on that Friday. We just got there at lunchtime, and we had a training session at 6 o'clock that night at Nudgee College, and I met all my under-19s teammates that I was going to be playing with that next day, and 2 of them were a couple of great mates that I played a lot of football with in Cam and Cooper. So it just, you know, I got really lucky to get an opportunity at that club, but at the same time, you know, as Craig Bellamy always said, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And, you know, the decision that I made that day up there with my father to go down to Brisbane was a good one in the end.
So Bill, was that 2002? So end of 2002, you find yourself down in Melbourne?
Yeah, so that was 2001, the start of 2001 season. I played the full season under 19s there. I played 2 Queensland Cup games for Brisbane North, and then the following year, you know, both Cam, myself, and Cooper played Queensland Cup pretty much all year. Cam actually debuted for Melbourne that year as well. Got a couple of games down there, but at the end of that year, I got an opportunity to go down to Melbourne and train in the pre-season. Now, that was Craig's first year as coach. And there was a group of about 10 to 12 of us that got an opportunity to go down and train in the pre-season, and there was 2 spots in the full-time squad up for grabs, and it was going to come out of that group of players. So it eventually ended up Dallas Johnson and myself filled those spots, and we both debuted against Cronulla in round 1, 2003. So the journey accelerated really quick from the moment I went to Brisbane at the start of 2001 to 24 months later, I'm playing in the NRL.
So Bill, you know, when you come down for that pre-season, you didn't have a contract at all. You were just getting paid weekly, and
so I had a part-time contract. So up in Brisbane North, you know, you sign a part-time contract, sort of like a scholarship. And then I got an opportunity to come down to train in the pre-season, but still not on a full-time contract. And it wasn't until Craig decided that he was going to keep myself and Dallas down that we got elevated to a full-time contract.
I know, being a current player at the time when you first came down, and we were all thinking, geez, who's this young fella giving Ross a run for his money in the runs and a Matty Dyer. I just want to share a photo with you, Bill. I just want you to tell me what this, you know, when you see it, what does that represent to you?
Oh, gee. Well, I don't know, bellyache's beating me in that run at the moment. So that was it's a really interesting photo, that one. Not too sure about the size of my quads, but we worked on them over the years. But that was my first training session down in Melbourne. You know, for the guys that played at the Melbourne Storm back in those early days, the first day of pre-season, we went over to the tan track, which was about 3.8 kilometres around, and it was sort of up a big steep hill and then sort of gradually went around. It goes around the Botanical Gardens. And I remember a story about this session, and we did one run, and then we had a 5-minute break and we had to do another run.
Yeah.
And there was this really steep hill. It goes for about 200 metres about 200 metres, and then it's a gradual decline the rest of the way. And I remember powering up this hill, and I got to the top, and I just had nothing left, and I gave myself a big breather going down the hill. And all these players, Robbie Ross and Matt Geyer and Nathan Friend, they all just steamed past me. Anyway, I think I finished second in that first run, and yeah. I think I remember my time being 14 minutes and 33 seconds. And we had the 5-minute break, and in that 5-minute break, Robbie Ross pulls me aside and says, "Hey, Bill, when you get to the top of the hill," he said, "just let your legs go. That's where you get up all your time. So let your legs go. And at the bottom of the hill, it starts flattening out. That's when you can have a bit of a breather. But you get up so much time by just flying down the decline."
Yeah, right.
And anyway, so I do the second run, and it's about 10 seconds faster than my first time, 14 minutes and 22 seconds, so 11 seconds faster. And I thought, beauty, mate, I've brained it. I think I actually won the second race.
Yeah, right.
I thought, this is a great first impression for the new coach, Craig Bellamy. Anyway, he pulls me aside after the session. I thought, here we go. I'm going to get a big pat on the back. Great first session, Bill. And he says to me, "Why was your second run faster than your first?"
Wow.
And before I could even give him the story about what Robbie Ross told me, he has just unleashed on me and just give me the biggest spray for not putting in my best effort, my first effort. Yes. And I wasn't even game to tell him the excuse. So I just had to wear it on the chin. But, yeah, that was my first introduction to Craig Bellamy.
And why has he got his shirt on? He was a good runner, Craig, too, wasn't he? Did he beat you or did you beat him?
No, I think I rolled him, but he was a really good runner. So that's the top group. It's Robbie Ross and Matt Guy was a good runner. The other guy that, I don't know, he might be in front of us, but Rodney Howe, for a front rower, long distance was his strong suit, and he was up there in the front as well. But yeah, I don't know why him and Friendy have got the shirts on. Maybe they didn't trim the chest up that morning. Although Belzer's got the hairy back too, so
that's the reason why. Hey, Bill, that relationship developed, pretty special between you and Craig, eh?
Yeah. I think once you, like, for coaches like Craig that are really, really tough on their players, and I think once you earn that respect, it just goes to another level, and you earn it through hard work. It's not necessarily, the tries you score or, the performances on the field. It's about turning up in the tough times and putting in that hard work. Craig really rewarded those sort of players, and you see a lot of players get the best out of themselves down in Melbourne, and that's because that Craig rewards effort. So the relationship between Craig and myself and a lot of the other players that were there for a long period of time, it goes way beyond than just a player and a coach, and he really cares about his players and looks after them. And when you play under someone like that for such a long period of time, it's pretty hard not to have a pretty strong relationship with them.
No, you're right. You played 319 games, Bill. You're the club's player 58. But it all started round 1, 2003 against Cronulla, your debut. You must have some pretty fond memories of that game. Yeah,
it was a very special moment for myself. Dallas Johnson debuted, and Craig Bellamy debuted as the head coach of the Melbourne Storm that day too. And It was such a special moment because I just loved rugby league as a kid. I'd played since I was 4 years old. I grew up in a rugby league area, in a rugby league family, and it was everything to me. So to run out onto Shark Park with an NRL jersey on, Melbourne Storm emblem here, and have mum and dad sit in the grandstand, like that was as proud a moment in my rugby league career that I could remember. But it only took about 20 minutes to bring me back down to earth and get me head out of the clouds. We were 22-0 down after 20 minutes. And I thought, beauty, this is my first and last NRL game.
But you're playing in the centres, weren't you?
Sorry?
You were playing in the centres, weren't you?
No, I had number 3 on, but I played fullback. Robbie Ross injured his back, and I got an opportunity to play fullback. It's funny, I'd never played fullback before.
Yeah, right.
The first time I ever played fullback was my debut game in the NRL, and played my whole career at fullback. So I don't know, I stumbled across the position, opportunity, and showed courage from Craig Bellamy. His first NRL season as coach, round 1, he puts this rookie kid, 85 kilos, at fullback. It showed a whole heap of courage there, but the game was such a roller coaster game. Like I said, we were 22-0 down after 20 minutes, and we come back, we hit the front, and then Cronulla score to put them, I think, 2 points in front. Yeah. And there was about a minute and a half to go. We're defending our try line, and Brett Camorley, playing for Cronulla at the time, he puts a little grubber in, and our big red bow-legged back rower by the name of Peter Robinson sticks his leg out and traps the ball, scoops it up, runs. What'd you run? 95 metres?
Oh yeah,
you're in about 3 steps, and you're looking for support. Finds Stephen Bell, who finds Matt Geyer. We run the length of the field to score the match-winning try. It was such a good moment, and it's a great memory. People ask me, what's your favourite memory in your career? And look, I've been very fortunate to play in some great teams, achieve so many great things in the game, but I just can't go past that game. That moment that I played my first NRL game, and just the way that it panned out, it was a dream come true.
Hey, Bill, you really, and pardon the pun, you took the game by storm. Did it take you long to get that sense of self-belief, that confidence?
Probably not, mate. I've always been quite confident in myself and what I could do. And even if I couldn't do it, I probably thought I could do it. That's always been within me. And that preseason probably showed that. Like, I wanted to win everything. My biggest attribute is probably my competitiveness. I just want to win. You know what I mean? So I probably didn't struggle with being confident. But the more success you have, both individually and collectively as a team, the more you feel like you belong there, and the more confidence that gives you. So, like, we had a pretty good year that first year, and individually, I think I scored 19 tries in my debut season. So that success early certainly gave me a lot of confidence to just be myself and impose myself on the game.
Hey, Bill, you mentioned, you just wanted to win everything, whether it was a 100-metre sprint, whether it was running the Tan track or running at Studley Park. What really motivated you? What really, when things got hard and tough, what really kept you, on the bright path?
To start with, I think the passion for the game motivated me. I love the game of footy. So that certainly motivated me. I wanted to make a fist of being an NRL player, and I wanted to play footy. That's what I wanted to do. So that certainly motivated me. The other thing is, and Craig probably instilled a bit of this in me, is becoming the best I could become, both as an athlete and as a person. So I always competed with myself. For sure, your opposite number, pushes you a little bit and all that sort of stuff. But if you can't compete with yourself, I don't think you can compete with anyone, because the majority of the time you're competing with yourself at home with your diet, whether you're on one of those runs at the Tan track or at Studley Park, you're the only one that knows whether you can push a little bit more or you've pulled up a little bit early. So competing with yourself was really important, and that just keeps yourself honest. And when you do that, you get the best out of yourself. I always wanted to improve my game. I still remember the last week of my career.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to training and I was still trying to improve on my passing and all aspects of my game. So that drive to become better, helped by being in the environment of the Melbourne Storm, but that certainly shaped who I was and what sort of player I became.
You touched on the preparation and how there's no stone left unturned. I spoke to Denny Williams last week, Bill, and we spoke about the first SOG camp we done, the 2003 SOG camp, and how tough that was, but actually how it became a real reference point in our lives. How you know we take ourselves to that place, and we know now that if we need to go there, we're able because we've been there before. What's your memories of that camp?
Yeah, I tried to erase the majority of them, but that's what it was designed to do. It was designed to take you to a place that you think I can't go anymore, but you get yourself through it, and you're in a team environment that helps support you and you support others. Yeah. And when you're on the try line and you're defending your third, fourth, fifth set in a row, and you think I can't do this anymore, you revert back to those days that you went on those sleep deprivation camps and you're in those situations, and if you can get through those camps, you can get through anything on the football field. Yeah. So that was Craig's mentality about put these players through something that they will never experience on the football field, and that will help them when they go through tough times. So yeah, I think it was it built resilience, it built mental toughness. And although I wouldn't put my hand up to go on another one, I'm glad I went through that experience.
I think Hoffy had to do 3 in the end. Hey, Bill, there's a lot of things I really admire about your character, and having played with you, the thing I used to love watching you is you could always, well, it seems to me, you could always move on fairly quickly from a bad game when we haven't won. Instead of kicking the can, perhaps some players do, during the week. It seemed to me that you used to process it pretty fast and move on. Was that the case?
Yeah, and even within games, Rog, like I don't know, I had an ability to make a mistake and, be willing to go and try it again. Probably got harnessed a little bit, through the players and coaching around me, which I needed to, but that was always my personality. It doesn't mean that it hurt. It didn't hurt when I made errors, or it didn't hurt when I lost games. But yeah, I always wanted to try and make amends and not let that affect me. So yeah, look, it's just the player that I was. But in saying that, I still had to learn. Like, I was quite erratic when I first came into first grade, and it'd be nothing for me to make 3 or 4 errors a game. So I definitely curved my ways the more experienced I got, but that took a little bit of time. But I suppose you take the pros and the cons together, and I always had that ability to move on pretty quick.
Well, I love what you just said there, Bill, that you make a mistake, but you're prepared to back yourself again. Was that because of the preparation you put in?
Yeah, definitely towards the end of my career. I think towards the start, I was just flamboyant, and I always was willing to try things. And you look at that try that everyone talks about in the Origin back in 2004, and there's no way that I would have tried that in the back end of my career. That was just something. I was playing on the wing. I was out of position. I saw something. I said, do it. That was just my attitude and my instinct taking over. Whereas the back end of my career, I thought about my football. I was more measured, more calculated with my decisions. My skill was a lot better. But yeah, it's just, I suppose it was me, but I definitely had to shape that.
Bill, you obviously played all your NRL at being fullback, and the thing I'd admire your courage under that high ball when the opposition are coming down and they're coming to get you. Did you ever have any emotions of maybe some fear? And did you have to manage that? How'd you cope with that?
Yeah, well, we play a team game. So when you run out, you run onto the field with 12 other blokes, and you know that they've got your back, and that you've got theirs, and you're there to support one another. But when they put that bomb up and you're back there by yourself, you're very much on your own. So you can be really isolated. It's probably the toughest position as a fullback on the field, especially when the ball's floating or spiraling and you can't leave the ground and protect yourself. So that takes a fair bit of courage to keep your eye on the ball and know that you've got 12 guys from the opposition wanting to come down and give you a bit. So, I suppose, that there's certainly, what's coming. There's certainly, a little bit of fear there, but I was always a bit of a,
yes.
that was just my attitude. And, I don't know, I never liked, players trying to stand over me or anything like that. So, I always tried to stand my ground. And the other thing for my teammates, I never ran down on the kickoff and had to put my body in front like Dallas Johnson and those sort of guys. So that was another way that I could show my commitment to the team as well, and that I was putting my body on the line.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Hey, Bill, in terms of your teammates, who was someone that really impressed you, both on and off the field?
Oh, geez, a whole heap of them, Roger, and for many different reasons. I'll go through from the start. Like right at the start, players like yourself, Robbie Kearns, two guys in particular for me, Robbie Ross and Matt Geyer, probably because I spent the most time with those guys through those early days. Going to wrestling sessions, the backs would do weights together, but they were just so accommodating for us young guys and willing to help us out and shaping us into the people that Melbourne Storm really wanted to represent them. I think they were instrumental in shaping guys like myself and Cameron Smith and Cooper Cronk and Greg Inglis. So, in the early days, definitely them. But even my peers like Cam, Cooper, Dallas, Hoffy, just really hard workers and every bit of success that they've had throughout their years and their careers have certainly been earned.
Yeah.
There's a whole heap of people involved in the Melbourne Storm that I look up to, not just our coaches and administrators and even owners now. Like you look at Bart Campbell, Matt Tripp, and Jerry Ryan. Really good people, really passionate about the club, and everything starts from the top, filters down through Craig and his coaching staff, and then Cam and the playing group. It's some wonderful people involved. So there's a lot of great people that I've looked up to and admired.